A country is quietly selling its Bitcoin. Inflation is rising again in the United States. The Fed is not moving and crypto is plunging. But it's not all. There are a lot of massive layoffs at Algorand, at Crypto.com. We will talk also about the blockchain launch by Stripe, FTX reimbursing another $2 billion, and Kraken pushing back its stock market listing. Stay until the end. There's a lot to cover today, and some of this news is really going to surprise you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to CryptoRed, the crypto news channel. So let's jump straight into the markets. Bitcoin is at almost $69,000, down 4%. Ethereum under $2,200, down also almost 5%. XRP is down. Solana is down. Pretty much everything is in the red today. And you're going to understand why just in a few moments. And let's talk about it. You know what? Right now, why this drop? First reason, and this is the main reason, is Iran. The situation continues to worsen in Iran. The price of oil is soaring, and that creates a real concern in the United States around inflation, around everything that touches the economy. The stock market are also down. Cryptocurrencies are following the same trend. And look, even gold and silver are down. This is quite rare and worth pointing out nonetheless. In short, it is a bit worrying right now that what is happening with Iran, it is lasting and it is having a concrete impact on everyone. I'm not a macroeconomic specialist, but it's clear when you see the price of oil increasing like that, you can easily guess that the impact is going to ripple through the entire global economy, and it's going to affect everyone without exception. And on top of all that, the American Federal Reserve, as was expected, but without any good surprise, did not move its interest rates at all. We therefore remain between 3.5% and 3.75%. The Fed is forecasting a 0.25% cut in 2026, another 0.25% cut in 2027. After that, things should still change. I believe things will change with Jerome Powell leaving the head of the Fed in May. I think there will be a change of direction at that point, but yeah, we will see how that turns out. And let's talk also about the inflation. The inflation numbers have come in and they are higher than what was expected. The Fed now expects 2.7% for 2026, where previously they were expecting 2.4%. For 2027, it should drop to 2.2%, but the Fed before thought it would be 2.1%. So, well, there you go. There are certain numbers of signals that are simply not good for America, for the American economy. And there is this current uncertainty around oil, around the war, which is not good at all for the markets and for cryptocurrencies. Now, let's talk about some good news. Some good news nonetheless for some projects. Oil going up pushes people to turn to platform where you can trade oil 24 hours a day, particularly Hyperliquid. I've talked to you a bit about this platform, and now look, let's talk about the Trade XYZ project, which is a project built on Hyperliquid. They just landed something enormous. They are the ones, Trade XYZ, they are the ones who offer almost all of the HIP-3 markets, meaning the markets around commodities and the permissionless markets on the Hyperliquid. And Trade XYZ just obtained the license for the SP500. Yes, you heard that right. From now on, when you go on Hyperliquid, you officially have the SP500 market to trade perpetual contracts. Be careful though, we are not talking about spot markets there. We are really talking about perpetual contracts for leverage trading. These are synthetic instruments. They do not actually hold the SP500 stocks, unlike SP500 ETFs, but it is very widely used by traders. And this is the first time that the SP500 has granted the license for the SP500 perpetual contracts in crypto. So yeah, a very good thing for Trade XYZ. By the way, this company still does not have a token. Well, there are people speculating right now around the Trade XYZ airdrop who are farming Hyperliquid for that. In any case, it is a team that is very close to Hyperliquid. They are also the ones who behind Units, meaning the entire spot market aspect of Hyperliquid. They are the ones who built it. Historically, Hyperliquid did not have spot market. They only have perpetuals, and they added spot thanks to Unit, and there is a revenue sharing agreement between Hyperliquid and Unit. In short, a really important team in the ecosystem, Units, Trade XYZ. And also a small but important thought, there were things circulating saying that this SP500 license would be exclusive or not exclusive to Hyperliquid or to Trade XYZ. But I search official sources and I do not really see an exclusivity. It is just that they are the first ones. So for now, yes, it is exclusive in practice because the SP500 has not given other licenses for the moment, but I do not think they are going to limit themselves and not give other licenses later on. In any cases, we are on Hyperliquid. It is really the giant of DeFi, and I personally really like this project. Next topic, and this is a topic that divides opinion. Let's talk about Tempo. Tempo, it is a blockchain that Stripe built, the payment giant, and they just launched their mainnets, so the main network, and it is somewhat the official launch because it has been the people were waiting for a long time for this launch, and they also launched a new protocol for AI agent payment, which they call the matching payment protocol. But here's the thing, and this is where I have a real problem with Tempo. It is a centralized blockchain. Currently, the nodes that run the blockchain, you need authorization from Tempo to launch one. You need to be on the allow list, on the white list. It is not just anyone who can come and launch a node for the moment. There are already quite a few projects launching Tempo. They have announced big partnerships, and they will surely end up launching a token Tempo for sure. But for me, yeah, I believe in decentralized and neutral blockchains. Stripe will never be neutral. Stripe is associated with its own interests, and so Tempo will not be neutral. They will solely push their own needs and develop things around Stripe in a certain manner. So, well, clearly, I'm not a fan at all of Tempo. So, yeah, I don't want to be in this ecosystem for now. We will see how it evolves, but I will not go in this ecosystem for the moment. Let's move on to the layoffs. Yeah, here it is a real warning signal. We are going to talk about two crypto projects that are laying off workers. First project affected the Algorand Foundation. They just announced the layoff of 25% of their employees. That is enormous. Given the current market, they had to make difficult choices. Among the reasons cited by this news article is AI. You can do more things with fewer people, sure. They had fewer than 200 people, so that gives you a rough idea of the scale. At most, they must have laid off 40 to 50 people. It is still significant and it's still important. And another crypto project that just laid off as well, and which cited also AI among the reasons, is Crypto.com. They just announced the layoff of 12% of their employees. That is big also, but they have many more employees. We're talking about they have more than 1,500 people. So there you go. We are looking at a layoff of around 180 people. So clearly, what was said is that they are transforming the company with the deep integration of AI, and the people who could not adapt, they laid them off. It is a bit brutal the way they are presenting this, but yeah, it's something we're seeing more and more. More and more companies are massively laying off workers to readapt. So is it just because they had overhired initially, or is it really linked to AI? It's difficult to say, and I think there's surely both. But in any case, there are clearly layoffs happening currently in startups, in tech companies, in crypto companies. Now, the topic I mentioned at the very beginning of the video, Bhutan. Bhutan, the country, apparently sold $72 million worth of Bitcoin. Bhutan is a country in Asia. $72 million in BTC moved from their wallets and went to unknown addresses with certain transactions associated with OTC trading, meaning over-the-counter crypto transaction. We are not 100% sure that they sold, but it is really likely that they sold. In total, they would have sold more than $100 million since the beginning of the year. And there you go. That is there's still a big figure. Bhutan was mining an enormous amount of Bitcoin. They stopped mining some time ago. We do not know exactly why they stopped. Maybe it is no longer profitable for them. Maybe they changed strategy. But they had accumulated an enormous amount of BTC, several hundred millions of dollars. And now I have the impression that they are gradually selling all of that little by little. Next, FTX. Starting March 21st, FTX is going to reimburse another $2 billion. They have already given back $6 billion, so $2 billion more are coming. Most people have received their money or will receive within the next few weeks more than 100% of what they had deposited initially. be careful, we are talking about the value in dollars, not the value in crypto. So if people had the Bitcoin when it was valued at $15,000, now BTC is worth $60,000 or $70,000. So clearly they are at loss, even if they got the value in dollar more than the initial value in dollars. The reimbursement was not made based on the snapshots taken with the value in crypto, but only the value in dollars. So yeah, at least a portion has been recovered. But by the way, for Ether, Ether was above $2,000 when the FTX went bankrupt. So if people held Ether, then they're gonna have more than what they held initially, and that's good news for them. And to finish, let's talk about Kraken. The exchange was preparing an IPO for their company. They had filled a request with the SEC at the end of the year. And according to CoinDesk, in fact, Kraken is not going to do its stock market listing right away anymore. They have delayed it because of the current market difficulties. They surely think that they cannot raise enough money, that they cannot get a high enough valuation, and that they're going to delay all of that for a better IPO window. It is quite classic, for companies. They try to time their stock market listing as best as possible to be listed as high as possible to have the best valuation, and above all, to raise as much money as possible ahead of the IPO. Because you have to understand that it is also what an IPO is about. They they raise money, and they want to obtain liquidity for existing investors. Kraken has been around for more than 10 years. There are investors who put money in Kraken more than 10 years. And with the IPO, it's going to offer them, after a few months of lockup, the possibility to sell the shares and to transform their illiquid holdings into liquid holdings. This is why most large companies end up either being acquired or doing an IPO. Once they reach a certain level of revenue, it is almost necessary for startup to do this. I believe more than 90% of startup either fail, are bought by another company, or do an IPO. There you go. That's what I wanted to tell you today about the various crypto news. I hope you like it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you tomorrow for another video. Bye-bye.